Finding your Everest. Can parents go too far in supporting their children's dreams? This is a question people sometimes ask when they hear the story of the teenage mountain climber, Jordan Romero. Between the ages of 10 and 15, Jordan climbed the highest mountain on every continent, and his father and stepmother climbed them with him. They call themselves Team Jordan. Paul Romero, Jordan's father, was taken by surprise when his 9-year-old son firmly announced his intention to climb the 7 summits. Jordan had seen a mural at school showing the 7 peaks that make up this pantheon of mountains. When he told his father what he wanted to do, Paul Romero's jaw dropped. Paul Romero is an experienced mountaineer, so he knew what was involved. He also knew his son. We've always taught him to just think big and we'll try to make it happen, Paul Romero said. But as Romero later noted, there was a fine line between encouraging his son and pushing him too far. The father began by training his son so that he could begin to even understand what mountaineering was, that there's this long, hard, dirty, unfun hours and days and weeks of carrying packs and long, extensive, brutal travel and all this type of stuff just before you can even think of climbing a mountain. Jordan persevered, though. And in July 2006, when he was 10 years old, Jordan and his family climbed 19,300 foot high Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest peak on the African continent. This was the first rung in the amazing ladder that Jordan Romero had set out to climb. Over the next 5.5 years, Team Jordan climbed Mount Everest in Russia, Mount Aconcagua in South America, Mount McKinley in North America, Mount Carstensz Pyramid in Indonesia, Mount Everest in Asia, and Vincennes Massif in Antarctica. In many of these climbs, Jordan set a world record as the youngest ever to climb the peak. When he completed the 7 summits at 15, he was the youngest person ever to accomplish that feat. It was the Mount Everest ascent, when Jordan was only 13 years old, that created the greatest controversy. Jordan's feat as the youngest person to reach the top of the world was publicized around the world. "How young is too young?" asked one newspaper headline. Many mountain climbers and medical experts questioned whether a 13-year-old boy could climb so high. Mount Everest is almost 30,000 feet high, without physically harming his body. Dr. Michael Bradley was a psychologist and expert on teen behavior, noted, "Most 13-year-olds don't have the wiring to make cognitive life and death decisions and are not truly able to understand what they're signing on for." Another physician, Dr. Peter Hackett, reported that there are conflicting opinions about the effects on a young brain. Some theories say that a young brain is more resilient, others say it may be more vulnerable. Many climbers take exception to the publicity surrounding Team Jordan. Everest climber Todd Burleson summed it up by saying, "He's got his whole life to climb Everest. Being the youngest boy to climb is fashionable, celebrity-oriented sort of thing, but it's not about the mountains. It's like trying to get a PhD at 10. Paul Romero claims that he is fully aware of the risks. There is a fine line between encouraging Jordan and pushing him too far, he says. He talked about the point where Jordan might have reached his maximum mental physicality and whether the risk had become too high. He said Jordan has just not even come close to that point yet. And what about Jordan, now that he has accomplished his goal of climbing the 7 summits before his 16th birthday? Unsurprisingly, he has a new mission. He calls it Find Your Everest. In 2012, Team Jordan set out to encourage young people to be active and healthy and pursue their own adventures. In the process, he is inviting young people to join him in climbing the highest peak in each state. They range from Denali or Mount McKinley at 20,320 feet to Florida's greatest height, 345-foot high Britton Hill. "I feel good about what my parents have taught me about setting goals," Jordan says, and now he wants to spread that message to others.